Hey folks, welcome back. Another opponent master video, and today we're gonna go over again the how to use some of these new, well, not new, but like units that have grids now, and also, well, I guess Arcanine is new, right? So anyways, let's get into this then. So we're gonna go over Arcanine, Siebold, Grant, and Machamp over here, right? And I'll have timestamps. Or I guess they're called chapters now on YouTube, so you guys could, jump to whichever one, right? So starting from Arcanine, right? So Blue and Arcanine, pretty standard, right? Decent speed. Your special attack's actually pretty bad, but you don't have to worry because you have Hyper Beam, which is a big damage dealing move, obviously. X special attack, and over here. So what you're missing for Arcanine is basically I don't know why it says by one stat rank. It should be +2, but anyways, you're just missing a bit of crit and special attack, right? So when you're team building, that's obviously the big thing to consider over there, right? As for passives, you have Fire Shifts or Hyper Beam is actually I don't know what's wrong with the website at the moment. It should be +2 crit, right? Yeah, it should be +2 crit. And this should be +2 special attack. Anyways, Fire Shift turns your Hyper Beam into Fire type. Terrify, you come in, lower the opponent's special or physical attack by 1. Then Super Powered gives you extra 30% on your moves when they're super effective, right? So that's nice. Let's get into the grid and lucky skills. Lucky skill, I would say you could go for either Super Power 3. With the new lucky cookie, deluxe lucky cookie, or you could go with Weathered Warrior 3, right? Because you are running him in Sun. It is a fire type, right? That's where a lot of his damage comes from because he gets Sun. And you could obviously always go with Crit Strike 2. That's always an option, right? Crit Strike 2 is always good on almost every damage dealer in the game, right? And then I guess another one would be Grand Entry, just so you don't need like any support. You can max out your special attack by yourself and max out your crit by yourself, right? So you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, let's go in the grid. Let's go straight up to 3 out of 5 grid, because again, there's not too much to talk about in terms of 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, right? Because you get him 5 out of 5 for free. So, which by the way, go grind him. He is pretty nice. His grid is kind of whatever, honestly. You have a lot of random Swift stuff that you really don't want. So it is pretty simple. You want the sync stuff, right? Because he does have a lot of sync stuff. He has Solar Flare over here, right? You have Double Down 5. If you want to run him as a, striker nuker, you could do something like this, maybe, right? That gets most of that. Also, you could, do a bit of damage with Hyper Beam as well. If you want sync freebie, you could do that as well. I'm not a huge fan personally, but again, if you do value something like that, you could definitely do that, right? Drop a few of these damage nodes, pick up sync freebie. Super Syncer, it's only for 1 move. In certain scenarios, it could be very clutch, right? So certain scenarios where, for example, after sync, you have the opponent relatively low, you take out the sides, or you don't take out the sides, right? You sync the opponent's at relatively low HP, and then you boom, finish it off with a super effective up, Hyper Beam right before they sync, right? If you give them, -1 sync boot counter or something, right? So I guess that could work in some scenarios, but generally, again, really a lot of his stuff does revolve over, around him syncing. If you need some, speed, you could also, or gauges, you could go for Speeding Sun, obviously. In that case, you want to drop some of these, right? So anyways, again, it really just depends on what you want to go for. I don't really care about stuff like this, right? I do not care about the Swift stuff, straight up. But yeah, that's Blue and Arcanine. Let's do some I guess team building stuff here, right? So Arcanine has again, it is being a fire type, right? Most of the time you want to run Sun units. Obviously Groudon's very good over there. You have the new Flygon, who could also set Sun as well, but also the thing with that Flygon is you do have to sync with Flygon, and a big part of Blue's kit is syncing. Not that it's incredible of a sync, but it's something, I guess, right? So something like a Groudon, Leafeon, right? Or if you don't have either, go with Blaine or the Tech Ninetales or whatever, right? And then over here again, just someone to max out his special, you know, stuff, right? Special attack stuff. Something like I was not looking for this. I mean, you could run the Sabrina too, but something like a Chingling, right? Max that out, and you also give at the same time, you also give you know, potential special attack up next stuff, or you could run Lyra, right? Lyra over here as well, because you know, if you have Sun up, might as well get some extra speed for your team as well, right? So there's just a lot, you know, he's just someone to buff his speed by 2, basically. Very, very simple, right? So yeah, that's blue, I guess. Moving on to Bruno Machamp. Bruno Machamp actually really nice in my opinion in terms of, you know, what they have going, because they're at base. They're actually a pretty decent unit. So anyways, so the big issue is speed. Speed's not very good. You have solid attack, right? And your defense are kind of whatever. You get a decent amount of HP for some reason, but you know, again, it doesn't really matter. You're top tanking. Your main damage dealing move will be Cross Chop over here. You do have, again, I don't know what happened to the site. They just divided everything by like 2, it seems, or whatever, right? Or -1. It should be attack and special defense +2. Dire hit plus obviously should be crit +2. So basically all you need for him is just attack +2, and you have everything maxed out, right? You have crit strike 2 over here, which is really nice, on top of, you know, cross chop. It does land more easily crit, but it doesn't matter that much because you probably want to max out your, I mean, I guess you don't have to max out your crit if you're not syncing with him, right? So I guess there's 2 ways to do this. Either if you are syncing with him, you should dire hit plus twice. If you're not syncing with him, then you could only, you know, you only need dire hit plus once, right? That gets you an extra turn of cross chop damage in there, which is actually pretty nice. So anyways, let's get into lucky skill and grid and stuff. This one's pretty straightforward. It's, again, you could do super powered, because you do have like some super effective multipliers, although I'm not a huge fan of super powered. I'd say crit strike's probably still better for him. And I guess if you want Fierce Entry, right? If you don't want to run another support to max out his physical attack, right? So anyways, or whatever the special defense one is called. Not Sentry Entry. What was the other one? Smart Wise Entry, I want to say, right? Wise Entry 2 from, again, the new silver cookies, right? You get +2 special defense, so you can max out your special defense, right? And then you can max out this over here, right? Again, just top out 5 out of 5, because again, I assume most people have him at 5 out of 5, right? As long as you've been playing for a while. So obviously you go for your big multipliers over here, right? Smart Cookie over here. You have Crit Strike 2 over here, right? And let's see, what else do we have? Super Preparation is nice, right? I don't know. I don't know what happened to this site's percentage. It should be 50% chance of applying. Oh, Amped Up. That's the one I wanted. Amped Up. So every time you crit, you have your speed buffed by 2. Again, his big, it says 1 here, but it should be 2. The big weakness of this unit is the fact that he is relatively slow, right? So you do want to fix that a bit with the speed buff over here. And if you want to sync with him, you could double down. I'm not a huge fan of syncing with him, though. In my personal opinion, I'd probably just use him as a Karate Chop, you know, DPS unit instead of a sinker. So pick a move gauge refresh over here, right? I always get Cross Chop and Karate Chop mixed. Alright, Cross Chop's the good one. So not Karate Chop then. It's this one. So yeah, you do that, and then some Cross Chop stuff. If you're worried about the accuracy, you go for accuracy here as well, right? If you're not, then other stuff. If you do want to actually sync with them, then you have a double down over here, and you have, you know, sync move power up over here as well, right? So again, really depends on if you want to sync with them or not, right? Anyways, going into teams, I do something like this would be really nice, right? You have SC Diantha over here, debuffing the opponent's defenses, also doing, you know, fight type damage there as well. And then you have Sonya to keep up the gauges for your whole team, right? With the move gauge acceleration, also to max out his physical attack stat, right? And also, she also does debuff the opponent's physical defense as well. So she could be an option. Another one, low-key, would be Caitlyn. Kalen and Sableye buffs special defense for Bruno as well, right? Max out tough smart cookie, right? And which also helps with the Diantha's multipliers as well. The only issue over here is with both teams, Diantha doesn't get the max special attack, unfortunately, right? So if you want to look for someone who you know, take care of those, it could be like Yahweh or something, right? That buffs both, and also again still debuffs opponents' physical defenses, which is nice. Obviously, you don't have to have Keldeo over here. A lot of other fighting type units that you could run with him, or you could just run like a, you know, if you want to play it safe, just like 2 supports if you want, I guess. You know, something like a Snorlax with some super effective up over here as well. It could take a few hits maybe here and there. Although in that case, you don't really need Kiawe for anything. The slot you could just put in whatever, I guess. Something for speed, maybe like a Skyla, right? If you really want. Not a huge fan personally though, but yeah, anyways, because he also does buff speed, but I guess both these are pretty slow, so probably wanted something a bit better there. So there's a lot of options that you could run him with, right? Again, a lot of other fighting type options you could go with, whether it's Wally, B, Lucario, right? Just make sure if you are running with another fighting type damage dealer, you do have the speed and gauge support to support them, right? Moving on, we have Grant and Aurorus over here, right? So Grant and Aurorus actually got a pretty weird kind of grid, right? From stat-wise, decent speed, honestly. Nothing crazy, but it's okay. Attack's pretty bad. HP's pretty good, honestly. The defenses are not bad, right? Especially special defense. You have Rock Tomb, which debuffs opponent's speed. You have Rock Slide that has a chance to flinch. And then X special defense, and then Over the Wall gives you some move gauges, some accuracy, and gradual healing to yourself. So you could throw him into this like tank-ish / flinch user, right? That you could do, especially against Gauntlet, right? He could be pretty nice over there. You have aggravation on Rock Slide, right? Double the chance over there. And yeah, do keep in mind the AoE for flinch on Rock Slide is cut in half, right? For each single target, unfortunately, just like regular move damages, which is weird, but you know, it is what it is, I guess, right? In terms of lucky skills, it really depends what you want to use them for, right? If you want to use them for damage dealer, then something like Weathered Warrior 3 or Quick Strike 2. If you want to use them for a just a flinch bot / tank, right? / tech thing that does tech things, then you want maybe like a Vigilance, maybe Sentry Entry, right? Something like that. So anyways, let's get to the grid. Again, the grid really depends on what you want to do with it. First of all, he does have a Sync Nuke, right? It is a bit awkward to set up, but you could do it, right? Which does involve picking up all this stuff, right? So this is all the Sync Nuke stuff that you could go for. You can't really afford the Trip Up, which would make debuffing the opponent's speed a bit easier, unfortunately, right? If you are going for all of the all of them, you'd have to again drop 11, which I guess you could do something like this, so you have a easier time of debuffing the opponent's speed, right? Because Rock Tomb Trap up 70% chance of debuffing the opponent's speed by 1, so every Rock Tomb you use has a 70% chance of debuffing the opponent's speed by 2. If you get 3 in a row, then you know you have Cakewalk already set up, right? Then you could just go straight up nuke, right? Have the weather up, and boom, you go for it, right? And then obviously in this case you don't have to throw in like another unit to help you debuff, right? So I guess that is a bit of a upside over there, right? Actually, can you afford double down if you do? No, you can't afford double down. Yeah, double. It's not that big of a deal. It's only 20%, honestly. Then you can use the rest on, you know, bit of whatever, or if you want this HP node as well, that should be fine. Or some other stat nodes if you don't want that, right? I guess maybe something like this. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I guess that HP node is a bit better. But yeah, just something like that, right? For sync, really depends on what you want to do. And yeah, I wouldn't care too much about Weather Surge too, because your DPS is just not that good, right? Straight up not that good. So I wouldn't worry about DPS wise. If you are trying to run him as like a flinch bot, like tech kind of unit, right? You go something like Move Gauge Refresh on Rock Slide, Trip Up on Rock Tomb, right? Also the First Aid, obviously. You don't really have that much other stuff. Like, yeah, everything else is kind of whatever, all right? So just pick up some other like stat nodes. Maybe if it's physical, you want to pick up some more physical defense. If it's special, right? Or speed, which is always good, right? So anyways, that's for a Grant, I guess. In terms of what you want to run over here, you could do something like an Ingo Excadrill, right? And then you could have maybe like a Serena to help you debuff the speed, right? Which could get you a bit more damage, or if you want just or if you don't have Ingo, like something like an Acerola. In that case, you would have to have you know, Ingo, or not Ingo, Grant do most of the speed debuffing, and over here you probably just want a you know, attack support, whether it's this guy or Sonya or whatever, right? It's just some physical, you know, support over here. And if you're using for a flinch bot, again, you can throw him in, honestly. Any team that could really support his gauges. Again, I'm not a huge fan of running him as a flinch bot just because of the fact that it is way too costly, right? It's a 3-gauge flinching move, which it really doesn't have that many benefits. You say, oh, it's AoE. No, I don't care. I personally do not care about AoE flinches. Unless it's like I guess like the anniversary Skylight AoE flinch is that bad, because that one theoretically should be like a 1 flinch all. Alright, but then again, AoE, it's just not, you know, that useful in comparison. I mean, obviously it's more useful than single target if you can land them, but there's just not that many stages that you really need AoE on when you're trying to flinch, because like you could flinch in Master Mode, which is fine, but like generally you don't want to spend time flinching the opponent in Master Mode unless you're really just trying to get a multiplier or whatever, right? Legendary Arena / Gauntlet is the place where like flinch actually does some solid damage against opponents, right? So anyways, last one, Siebold and Clawitzer over here, right? So Siebold Clawitzer, that's a lot of special attack. Speed's not the worst, but it's not too crazy either. Their defense is okay, but I mean, you're generally not gonna attack with them. Although you could use them as like a super down bad tank in like Gauntlet or whatever, I guess. His moves are absolutely worthless. Both these are not very good. He does have the EX though of the 3, right? So there's that, I guess. He has a he has a crit next, guaranteed crit next. You have a gradual heal over here, heals your HP as well, and then you do have crit focus. So what you could do is you could get guaranteed crit next, crit, and then that increases your crit by 1. Do that again. And then boom, you crit again, then you have an 80% chance to crit, then just use a Water Pulse and boom, that maxes out your crit, right? So you don't actually need a crit buffer to max out your crit, but you don't have your max special attack anyway, so you probably want to bring a buffer, I guess, right? So in terms of the lucky skills, again, Superpower 3, Weather Warrior 3, or Crit Strike 2, because he does have a decent amount of, well, I wouldn't say decent, but a solid amount of damage. His sync move damage does come from super effective, so I guess super effective is not terrible, and you do run him in range, so Weather Warrior is fine too. But again, Crit Strike 2 is just the most universal one, right? Let's get into, I guess, the grid. He's mainly just here to sync nuke, right? Pick up double down here. Honestly, I don't even want to pick up Raging Range. Just do that, I guess. Yeah, that is pretty expensive. How much extra does it cost? 3, 7. All right, it just costs 1 less. Let's say, get some like HP instead of Raging Range. All right, now we just go Raging Range, should be fine. And you could do this, right? Definition of art, where you get the super effective up. So you get like a super effective up sync over there, right? As for the other stuff, this stuff all is whatever. This stuff all sucks, honestly. This stuff sucks too. This stuff is whatever. It's just something like this. He's just here to get a big, solid sync nuke in, which is why if you have him, you should probably EX him, or else he's not that really good, useful for anything, right? So, there's that, I guess. So, anyways, let's get into some team comms over here with Siebold and Clawitzer. So obviously you want to run rain, so something like a Kyogre, right? Although if you really have Kyogre, you're really running Siebold. Okay, if you really like Siebold, sure, go for it, right? So something like Chingling over here, right? To buff special attack. You got Kyogre for rain, or some other, any rain unit, honestly. May's another one. What's the other one? Winona, if you really don't have anything. Yeah, it's just pretty standard. Here, it doesn't have to be Chingling. We could, any other one. The other Sabrina. Just any special attack buffer, right? Celesteela, that's another one. Torchic, if you're really down bad, right? So, yeah, those are some options there. So, anyways, that's me this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoyed. Guys, think in the comments down below. Like, share this video, for channel, some more Pokemon content. We'll do videos on them individually, right? Just to try them out, see how they are in game, all that stuff. Although there's not a lot of super effective stages, unfortunately, so that kind of sucks. But anyways, what can you do? So, have fun, folks. I'll see you guys in the next one.